From the beginning of time, anybody who lives or has lived on this earth has one thing in common, and that is that they are born from a mother. Despite this one similarity, there are many different factors that affect birthing outcomes and result in different ways that mothers reflect on birth. In this video, I will be talking about how different factors in a woman's life affect her reflections on childbirth. I will be using 7 different sources, which consist of 5 scholarly articles about birth, the book Cut It Out, The C-Section Epidemic by Teresa Morris, and the textbook Sociology 2E. A common factor in the 5 articles that actually affects how a woman reflects on birth is her age. Pregnancy and childbirth are known to be mentally and physically taxing processes. The way in which women respond to these implications can actually alter birthing experiences. There has been found that there is a negative correlation between age and the management of stress, anger, and depression. It is also indicated that due to these physical and mental burdens at such a young age, young women who are pregnant have a higher chance of miscarriages. On the other hand, women who have children during their late 20s and above actively seek birthing information and react differently to medical authority, usually more positively. This actually agrees with the age-related factors in the sociology textbook. Chapter 9 in the book discusses social stratification. And this actually shows that a woman's class does influence how she lives, what kind of hospital she can go to, what kind of food she can eat, and it might even affect the way her child is born. Now, age has an important impact on the factors that determine class, which are wealth, income, education, power, and more. For example, a 16-year-old pregnant girl might not have as much income or schooling as someone who is older. Going back to the 5 articles, another major factor that affects reflection on birth is whether or not the woman is born in the United States. Now, there are many differences between countries, states, or even cities that can affect birth, such as healthcare, social environment, or even whether or not the woman gets support from her family. One article actually shows data that Hispanic women are happier with unintended pregnancies than white or black women. This trend is elevated when the Hispanic woman is not born in the US. This correlation is thought to be due to the belief that Hispanic women have a higher connection to religion most of the time. People from different countries reflect differently on birth due to differences in culture, race, and ethnicity. Chapters 3 and 11 of the Sociology 2E textbook focus on how culture molds a person's beliefs and values. These differences between people explain why they might have different outlooks to the same situation. This further explains why Hispanic women are likely to be happier with unintended pregnancies than white or black women. A great impact on how women reflect on birth is how they deal with different powers and authority. Now, Chapter 17 of the Sociology textbook defines power as a way in which a person or group exerts control on others. Now, the main source of power that a pregnant woman is going to encounter will be hospitals and the caregivers working in them, such as doctors or nurses. Now, this group holds authoritative power. This isn't a forced power, not one that is taken, but actually, it is one that people agree to abide to for the greater good. Nonetheless, this goodwill power can make women feel belittled, weak, or even scared. This, in turn, affects how the woman reflects on birth. A big focus in the Morris book, Cut It Out, revolves around how doctors and nurses use their power to reach birthing outcomes that are unfavorable for the mother. Childbirth is one of the only medical procedures in which a patient might have conflicting ideas with their healthcare provider about how a procedure should actually occur. If a woman has to endure something that she does not want, but can't do anything about it due to her vulnerable state and lack of power, this could cause mental or physical damage that will greatly affect how she reflects on birth. Morris gives many examples of women's experiences with situations involving power. There are many cases in which a woman wanted to have a vaginal birth, but due to certain factors, a doctor will quickly opt for a C-section. Women might try to argue, but ultimately, the healthcare provider has the final say. There are even examples where healthcare providers threaten to call child services on the woman if she is not abiding or showing signs of resistance. In conclusion, there are many factors which affect how a woman reflects on childbirth. These reflections could be either positive or negative. The factors might include those of social stratification, such as how age affects income and education. Other times, the factors involved are around culture, race, and ethnicity. And sometimes the factors are due to power and authority. All these factors construct to how a woman reflects on birth. Ultimately, they should be studied to minimize negative reflections and maximize positive ones.